make of that. We're going to let the people start to trickle in. So if you're catching this after the fact and you're rewatching it, I'm just going to hang out for 5-10 minutes or so, let a few people get into the chat, and then we will start the process. If you see me fiddling with my finger, it's because about 5 minutes ago, your boy got like I don't know, probably like a 1/4 inch splinter in my thumb while I was moving wood. Luckily, it was so big that I could see it. There's another splinter right there. That's a callus now that has been in my finger we're coming on 2 weeks actually. Yeah, splinter, 2 weeks in the old finger. I started losing hope there for a little while that there might not actually be a splinter and that the pain I was feeling was from me creating a hole in my finger. But I was smushing around near the crater that I have created in my finger, just with my other finger like this, and I hit it. So I don't know how deep that thing actually goes, but it could be like an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch long splinter that is just in there festering. I don't think it's infected. My finger's not purple. But, all right, we got one person in the chat. We have 0 people in the chat. Let's see if we get a few. Gonna get the old bandana out, the old McCoy's bandana, because we're looking for a McCoy sponsorship. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but someday. It's extremely dusty right now, if you can see that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna wear on my head. For the love of the potential sponsorship, there's really nothing in the works for this McCoy's sponsorship. It's not as if I'm even talking to them, but we put it on every day just in case. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here. No, I'm gonna stay up here. I'll start talking to you up here. What do we got? Seattle Woodman, great to have you here. Me and Tryhard, bro, that's me. I'm bro, or you're bro. Someone's bro. Abdullah, what's going on? Yeah, me and Tryhard, is that bro to you or bro to me or bro to somebody else? I don't know. But we have some people finally, so let's get right into it. Today we have actually a monumentally large day. Entertainment Gamer. Which machine is that panel? Or I don't know. Bimeswara? What is going on? Vivek, love from India. Awesome. Are you English? I live in America, so I speak English, but I'm not British. I don't know if that's what you're asking, but there's my answer to it. So today we have a lot to do, like an unprecedented amount that I need to accomplish. And my overambitious self was like, let's shoot a live. Let's see what happens. Thank you, bro. I got you. Try hard. I got you, bud. So what are we actually doing? I have been working with a restaurant in Austin, and they wanted the Outerwood shop to create sushi boards for their restaurant. A lot of them, because it seems like what's happening is that they're doing really well in their sushi restaurant business, and they have some boards right now that are made out of wood, but the problem is they're kind of dying, as boards do after that long if they're actually made from wood, and they're throwing them in the dishwasher. We're talking like an industrial grade dishwasher, and absolutely letting a rip. I mean, it's probably like as hot as the 4th circle of hell in that dishwasher. And they're ripping pecan boards in them. The funny story is that when I was younger into this business, when I was like, let's say 3 years ago, what happened is I was asked to help a different craftsman who works on knives. He makes knives, but he's in touch with the restaurants. And the knife maker was making these sushi boards for the restaurant. And he asked me to help because I had woodworking tools that he did not have. And what was interesting about that is that at the beginning, I was like, dude, that is the dream job. Getting sushi boards in a restaurant? Are you kidding me? And so I was really jealous of him. Turns out, full circle, 3 years later, his boards kind of crudded out on the sushi place, as boards do. Nothing offensive to his boards at all. But they just kind of went the way that wood goes when it is subjected to thousands of cycles in an industrial dishwasher. So anyway, the sushi restaurant said, hey Tanner, hey Outer Woods, can you make some new sushi boards? So I gave them samples. Then they wanted to tweak the sizes a little bit. I gave them more samples. And what happened is that we were both like, I don't know, a week late or so. And they were about a week, 10 days late on getting me a response on those last samples for when they really wanted these boards. So I thought, okay, the timeline's been pushed back a little bit, but it turns out that when we were corresponding this Sunday, she said, oh my goodness, we need boards by this next weekend, whatever it takes. And the reason they need these sushi boards in their restaurant by this weekend is because it's an Austin restaurant. I do all my work in Austin. But if you know, Austin is playing host to the F1 event this weekend. There's also football. I don't think it's a home game. But anyway, F1's massive, obviously, right? And apparently they get absolutely slammed for F1. So she was like, we need the sushi boards this weekend, whatever it takes. And the trick is, I'm going to be finishing them with polyurethane. And polyurethane has dry times before I would recommend throwing it into an industrial dishwasher. So what that means is that I have to get their sushi boards done today with a finish on it to keep in track with their timeline. They need it by the weekend. I'm going to be putting more layers of finish on tomorrow, but I just need to get one layer of finish today. Let me go ahead and look what's going on here. Try hard. You're subscribing. I appreciate that. Okay. Tarun, that's an interesting comment there. Thank you. But yeah, so today we're going to be making 20 of these. We're going to be making 20 of these. By the way, these guys right here are the actual rolls, the boards for the rolls. So that's the one where you put, you know, the, oh, yes, GR. What's good, Woodner? Yeah, Woodner, Tanner, you can call me whatever you'd like to. But so anyway, these guys are the boards that they're going to be actually putting the sushi rolls on. So that's the whole thing, kind of like the shape of, I don't know, a cucumber. And they chop it up, there's a roll. There's this tricky, it's not that tricky, there's this little groove right here because one of the issues they were having is they love to put sauce right next to their sushi that you grab the sushi with, dip it in the sauce, let it rip. The old boards did not have a groove and the sauce was just runny enough to kind of trickle off and not really be captured. So they have asked me to put this groove in there. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then the last thing that is not depicted on this board is that I'm going to laser engrave a logo, their logo, on the board. So that's what's going on. We need 20 of these. Apparently these guys are the most important for this weekend. They're always running out of the sushi boards. Past that, they also need, this is the original one that was made 3 years ago or whatever. You can see that it is not something that you'd like to eat sushi off of. It's just old. It's been through a lot of dishwasher cycles. This guy is something that they can put like 2 pieces on. Piece of nigiri, piece of sushi right here, piece of sushi right there. They bring it out, they serve it. We need 20 of these. The other thing that I have to do differently on these guys is, first of all, it's got to look nicer. Second of all, I'm going to be putting a little border on this. Just to kind of frame the sushi. That's more of an aesthetic thing. It has no functional purpose. And the last one, same exact thing, but smaller. This is what one piece of sushi is going to be placed on and served ever so delicately to the patrons of this sushi restaurant. Altogether, that means we have to make 60 of these things, which is going to be quite the endeavor. My goal was to start at somewhere around 9 a.m. this morning. It is now noon. So that's not fantastic. We've already lost some time. I might be here until midnight tonight. I have no idea. We got Valentine asking, what time is it? Where I am in this world, it is right around noon. So hopefully people are grabbing their lunch break right now, tuning in. I will definitely be talking with the chat as I'm able to, but real priority is just to crank out some woodworking so that you guys can see the process, see just some nice relaxing stuff, have it on while you work, just have the saws whirring. It's nice. It's fall. It's nice to have that on, feel like we're in a community. The last thing I'll say before I get going here is that it is still October, so we are still doing that pledge essentially where every member that we have on YouTube or every subscriber we have on Patreon, we are going to be pledging one tree for every single member. And if we get above 50, we'll do a live video where we plant a tree. It's gonna be a cool tree. I don't know what kind of tree, but we're gonna get a really cool tree. I don't know where it's gonna be, but it's gonna be a place where trees are needed. That's the last thing I say, so please like, subscribe, become a member, check out our Patreon page. It's got some cool behind the scenes stuff. Without further ado, we're going to get ripping on these boards because I need to go. It's gonna be a stretch. So I'm gonna start out making the largest boards. And the largest boards, I have my little, my template. It's not a template. It's basically the thing that I'm following to make sure that I make all these boards the right size and the right shape. The large boards are supposed to be 12 inches long. That's 12 inches. They also need to be 4¼ inches wide. What I can tell you is that this guy's a little bit thin, and that, all those over there, that is what all of this is going to come from. So let me go ahead and show you this really, really cool pecan lumber here. It was a little bit of a task to make sure that we were all in agreement on wood, but pecan is really interesting. Where I'm from, in Texas, specifically Austin, Texas, pecan trees grow everywhere. I can see a pecan tree from my shop right now. But they grow everywhere and they fall over all the time, which means that in Texas, we are lucky enough to have pecan wood very abundant and very inexpensive. Now, I think if you were to go up to the north where pecans trees don't exist as much, I think pecan is very expensive up here. The flip side of that is that we don't get walnut for very cheap, and I think it's cheaper in the north. But we got some cool pecan. About it, it's really, really hard wood, which I think is going to be really good for the sushi restaurant. But it's not the most waterproof, water-resistant type of species. Something like teak is the upper echelon of wood that can be exposed to different elements, which you'd want for an industrial dishwasher like these will be subject to. But we got a plan for the finish of that to where they're going to last as long as they possibly can. Just another piece of pecan wood to show you. That is pecan right here. So you can see that these, why? I don't know why my stand just almost fell over. As you can see, these planks right here came from something like this. They just got the edges ripped off, which is what we need for this project. There was actually a consideration to do it out of live edge slabs, but the challenge is that live edge slabs oftentimes come with quite a few cracks, holes, bumps, etc. And you don't want those when you have water and heat getting all up into your board. So these planks right here, they come from much kind of higher grade and more, I guess, regulated or inspected pecan trees, hickory trees, and yeah, that's going to be what we need to make sushi boards. Got a few comments. Can you add a goon corner? A goon corner. Okay, I do not know what that is. Okay. Yeah, the McCoy, it's pecan. Say it with me, pecan. I'll go to battle with you, the McCoy, because I say pecan, and I don't know. I've heard both ways, but I say pecan. So that's what we're going to be using. Um, I think I bought enough wood. Let's hope I did. If I did, then we can hopefully try to get all of this done today. So the first thing that we need to do is I actually have a few smaller pieces of wood over here that are a little bit more manageable just to kind of get us going. I think I might have to cut those first before I rip them. What I've done is I bought boards that are big enough to where a chunk of this can be used for the large sushi boards, and then the other half can be used for these smaller nigiri or, the sushi rolls for the bigger half, and the nigiri or the sushi individual pieces. So if I cut it at the right width, if I rip it at the correct width, I should be able to double dip and be really efficient with the wood that I have purchased. And if not, we might have some issues there. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, right there is going to leave me the perfect amount for the rolls and then a good bit left over for the nigiri here. 4 1/4, that is 4 1/4. And then the other thing that I need is 3 inches. I know that this right here is 7 1/4 inches. So you'd think, hey, that's perfect. But in reality, the blade has a little bit of width. So we're going to be losing, it's not even a 1/16 on each side. It's a small 1/16 on each side. Now the good news is, because these just have sushi on them and rolls on them, it's gonna be okay if they are not quite there. If they're just a little short, that's gonna be okay. We've talked about that before with them, so they're cool with that. So we're gonna get going here. And the first thing I wanna do is rip off 4 1/4 on this plank right here. So I'm going to put my mask on, my goggles on, my earmuffs on. Let's go ahead and take that way down. There's no reason that needs to be nearly that high. One thing I also do need to do is get a little outfeed stand. I'm going to turn on the dust collection really quickly. Bada bing, bada boom. That's this guy over here. Right there. It's just hooked up to the saw, and that's going to be filtering all the dust from this so that it's not just going into the shop. Let me know if the audio's okay. GR with the pecan to the day I die. There you go. Maybe it's a regional thing, because I know GR and I grew up very near each other. So yeah, here's the outfeed table. I'll show you what I'm setting up right now. Right there. Cool. And the way I want to do this, right now I think it's going to be a little bit high, but we'll lower it. I have a Husky outfeed table. I don't know if I'd recommend it. Yes, peak PPE game. I will be there in a moment when I put it all on. Yeah, these Husky outfeed tables, I got it a long time ago when I was really just trying to go budget on everything. And they work. I had 2, one of them died. But the issue that I don't like about it is that the actual roller isn't actually flat. It's like tilted just a little bit. And the legs on this thing, the feet on this thing, if you can see them down there, they do not sit flat on the ground. Seattle Woodman, wow! Appreciate you, big dog. That's extremely exciting. Thank you for let's see, that's a membership. That's awesome. I appreciate that. It's been sweet to have you in the chat. Glad to have you here again today. I don't know what all these other things are down here. I'm getting notifications on. People seem to have received a gift from that. That's cool. I don't exactly know how that works, but I appreciate it, Seattle Woodsman. You've been a real cool dude in the chat. Okay, here we go. We'll lock you right here. Let's get ripping this thing. I've been yapping long enough. In the chat, just please let me know if the audio is too intense. Like, here's the mic, and it sounded decent in the past, but I just want to make sure that, I just want to make sure that it sounds okay when I'm running the saw over it. The one thing I do want to check really quickly is I'm looking at my piece here, and I see that there's stuff that I don't want to deal with. Especially this right here. Let me grab a tape measurer. I thought I had one around here. That was the one thing that I did not grab when I was preparing for the stream. Let's see. Yes, Seattle Woodman. You got a tree in your honor, bud. I appreciate that. What up, Joe Mama? For the trees, yes, for the trees. Seattle Woodman, if you have a certain tree in mind that you want to see us try to acquire and plant, let me know. That would be very cool to do something weird. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I don't know if I could plant like an acacia tree. Maybe I could. But maybe we'll plant something native around here so that it's got a good chance of actually doing well. But yeah, we'll definitely do a live stream if we get enough members. But Big Dog Seattle Woodman helping out with that cause. Where is a tape measurer? Here's one. Great. So what I'm trying to do right now is I know that I need 12-inch chunks, right? The good news is I should be able to get 24 inches before you can't see anything, can you? I always got to remember to turn it back. The good news is I'm able to get 24 inches before this little blemish right here happens. It's a hole. I want to avoid that. And I can also do it the other way around. But there's this big old chunk taken out of the wood right here that completely trashes one of the sides. So I think what I want to do is, will that get me? Man, that won't get me a whole lot of that. I want to get this two-tone going on here too. See what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain thickness or width of this strip that I need to cut, and I really want to try to get both of those tones. So what I'm working out right now is how I want to accomplish that. And the way I think I want to accomplish that is I could just take it from that side and we're gonna lose one. That's all right, we're just gonna do that. Yeah, perfect. All right, gang, let's get this in position. Yeah, we're gonna be ripping fat planks here. McCoy, I assume that means goodbye. We'll see you, my man. Alrighty, let's do it. I'll still talk while I have this on because I've heard you can hear me, but it sounds weird because I can't even hear myself. We'll keep the McCoy's bandana on because we're always looking for that spicy sponsorship from McCoy's. Still hasn't come, but maybe we'll get there. All right. That's so frustrating. Yeah, is there a setting that I can click so that when I get spam calls from like Better Business Bureau, are we back? It doesn't interrupt the chat? That's so frustrating. Do not disturb. GR, what a novel idea. We'll get there. We'll get there. Sorry, everybody. We did get this rip. Don't worry, we have a lot more to rip. But yeah, we get some really cool two tones in here. You can see that what the two tones are in pecan, it's called heartwood, which is the darker stuff, and sapwood, which is this lighter stuff. And you can actually really see it if you look at a live edge slab of pecan. The heartwood is in the middle of the tree, and the sapwood is on the exterior of the tree. And when they take planks, that heartwood and that sapwood kind of weave all the way. If you're on Wi-Fi, use airplane mode. Oh, that's a good call. Yeah, you get this heartwood and this sapwood like weaving through the plank, as you see here. So all these planks were somewhat near the edge. There are some planks that are just going to be, sapwood, this lighter stuff, and there are some planks that are just going to be this darker stuff, the heartwood. Pecan is like iconic for having both of those. Walnut over here, also a very iconic heartwood, which is that nice dark flavor. And then sapwood, it can be different depending on the tree. This one does not have much, but some walnut is like very stark difference between the heartwood and the sapwood. So that's cool. Let's rip a few more. I'm gonna put this back here. When I went to the lumber store this morning to get all of these, they came in 12-foot planks. And I had to get them cut because I didn't bring the trailer with me. So the trick is that it might be such to where I lose one at the end because I see a crack right here. And so I can't make a board out of that has a crack in it. But I should have got enough extra to where we'll be A-okay. But let's rip a few more. Yeah, it was really interesting. Like this piece right there, all sapwood. Like nothing but sapwood other than this little bit down at the end. However, if you flip it over, it's like almost all heartwood and then just a little bit of sapwood. So it was fun this morning going through the bins to try to get the best pieces that have like that dichotomy, just to make the boards as interesting as possible. What I am seeing with this guy is we have a lot of cracks over here, but not nearly as many on the other side. So I think what I'm going to do is take my 4 1/4 for the large sushi roll boards from the side that has a lot fewer cracks, and we're gonna get some sapwood, but this is gonna be more of a darker board. So they're all gonna be interesting, they're all gonna be different. We kind of just have to make do with what the wood tells us to do. But I want to avoid all of this stuff for these larger boards. Let's do it. This we need for something else. This is a different board. We're going to put it over here. Okay. And I'll explain it just one more time on this guy, but then once we start getting in the groove, I'm probably just going to go and maybe talk as I am able, but we kind of just need to go. So the only real issue I see in this board is, see if I can show you, is a crack right here. I'd like to avoid that, see if I can get the full, I think this is like exactly 4 feet, so I want to avoid that so that I'm not losing a board at the end of this. And that's nice because I'm going to get these 2 tones in all of the sushi roll boards for this one. Let me check out the comments real quick. Thor, okay, we got that. Let's see. So is that board with the sapwood on one side and heartwood on the other side, flat sawn, rift sawn, quarter sawn? I do not know, GR. They don't specify that for these pecan planks that I know of. And if they do, they only offer this, so I just get this. For everybody else in the chat, great question from GR. Flat sawn, rift sawn, or quarter sawn is basically how they divide up a tree to get the most wood out of it and be as efficient as possible so they're not wasting any of the tree. And when you do this, the planks have different characteristics based on what orientation they are to like the center, the exterior of the tree. So like white oak is very, very important which one you use. Like one way you're gonna get like this really cathedral shaped wood grain, and I think that's really pretty, but it's not necessarily as modern as some people would like. If you change the orientation, then you're gonna have grain that's super, super straight. If you change the orientation, you get these like little flecks that look like rays of sun. It's really interesting. Pecan, I don't know. But yeah, this one, we're gonna try to get all of this nice sapwood and this nice heartwood. And then remember, the other part of this, we are going to be using for something, but it's gonna be less, with the big sushi roll boards, we gotta be spot on with that measurement because I didn't buy too much extra wood to accomplish that. We're going to have plenty of wood for the other smaller ones that can come from a lot of different places. So we will figure that part out later when we get there. Let's do one more of these. Okay, cool. One other thing that I do want to mention really quickly while I'm on this, I have a SawStop table saw. I got this really, really early on when I was making this business, Outer Woods, and it was kind of like a no-brainer that, hey, look, I'm gonna be using a table saw like most days, and even if your chances of hitting it are 1 in 1,000, if you use a table saw 1,000 times, you're likely to hit it. So the SawStop has a really cool feature, allegedly, where if you touch it, the blade has this break smash into it, and the blade stops on an instant. Yeah, thank you, Brown Cow, I appreciate it. I respect my saw, I do not fear it, but it might look like I fear it. Anyway, so there are some things that I do that might not be by the books for this table saw, like using one of the little pushers. I'm a little bit more comfortable with it just because allegedly this will stop. I act as if it doesn't, and I've never hit it, knock on wood, but yeah, a healthy fear of a saw is life-saving. I agree with that. You don't want to fear it to the point where like you're nervous around it and you are like shaky and wobbly because you're not just like confidently, you know, smoothly doing a thing. But you want to, it can lop off a hand real easily if you screw up. So here's what I want to do now. I've got a few boards over here. This is my pile of the big sushi roll boards, this guy, and they should all be 4 1/4, and they are 4 1/4, which is great. And then the other guys need to be, let's see if we got 3 inches out of them. We basically did. Now, what we're short is from that thickness of the blade, because essentially, if it was perfect and I could divide it in half without losing any wood, it would have been Perfect. 4 1/4, 3 equals 7 1/4, which is how wide those guys are. But you lose the blade, there you go. What do we got? Brown cow, literally on my lunch break at a cabinet shop. Yes, good on you. Cabinetry is another beast. I have done it, but if you're not set up for it, it's very, very inefficient. I have tremendous respect for cabinet makers. I'm going to cut these guys, these two, in half so that they're 4-foot long chunks. That way I have a little bit more autonomy as like, oh, I want the right side up here and the left side, come on, down here. I can avoid more things if they're in smaller chunks. So I'm at least gonna cut them in half. I might even cut them into 2-foot sections so I can really pick and choose where they come from. To do that, you know what, why not? We'll do it on the miter saw right here. What if we put you over here? That's good. Awesome. The trick here is the same thing that these boards were like straight up 12 feet. Sometimes you get lucky and boards will be like 3 inches longer, 2 inches longer, etc. That way you can account for the width of the blade, the kerf of the blade. This one, unfortunately, they gave me 12 feet of board and no more. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that when I'm cutting here, like this is, okay, I got a little bit. This is 96 1/4. So I have a little bit extra. And I'm going to, can you see me? Yeah, you can see me. So I go 4 feet and 1/8 right here. Gives me kind of half of everything. 48 inches and 1/8. And just to make sure, I will do it from the other side. Yeah, and that's good. And I'll cut right on that line because I've divided this in half. We're gonna take equal amounts from each side. I'll key you in on a little secret here. And this is just me straight up being lazy. I am not going to put a support on both sides of this. So when I make this cut, no, I need to put a support. It might break and actually like fray the wood. It's different heights, unfortunately, so I will have to reset that once I get back over to the table saw. C'est la vie, right? What I want to stress is how, I don't know, unorthodox, unorganized I can be sometimes as a woodworker. I get it done, I make nice stuff, but I'm not the most fastidious of woodworkers out here. I do want to clamp this. I can't quite grab it and feel safe with it. So let me clamp it. I don't always clamp it, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Now, I don't always clamp it, but when you got really big stuff on both sides and you're kind of worried about like the wood jumping on you and like the saw blade hitting more than it needs to hit. Let me turn off the dust collection. I don't know, you just can't really afford to have things fray on you, and this is probably going to fray a little bit. Unfortunately, this is not the newest saw blade in the world. So I'm hoping that it's not too bad of a fray here. And we'll be able to clean it up, but I don't want to have to spend a whole lot of time cleaning this up because we have 20 of them to make. Check one more time just to make sure I'm not going crazy. And the good news is I don't think I am. So let's get that cut. Safety first, PPE. I'm here for a long time, not a fun time. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to clean up that end, so it's okay. But I'm trying not to make it horrific. And I could go take this to like a crosscut sled on the table saw, which is much better about making really clean cuts. And I might do that now that they're in 4-foot chunks rather than 8-foot chunks. Just a little bit easier to manage. Let's do the same thing for this guy. Let's get us a measurement. How are we doing? Are we still here? We're still here. Tape. I'll read that in a second. Holy moly, I put it on the money. How long is this thing? 96 1/4. Okay, great. So we did get a little bit of extra. Not too much, but just a little bit of extra. 48 1/4. I mean an eighth, sorry. Same thing for the other side. 48 1/8. That's perfect. All right. And again, if you're a stud that doesn't use clamps on your miter saw, well done. I tip my hat to you. Sometimes I'm a stud like that, but today we're going by the books. Okay. Again, I'm going to be cleaning up that edge there. So this is just to kind of make these pieces a little bit more manageable. All right. So here's where we're at now. Come on over here. Bada bing. Okay.
Let me check a chat real fast. What's going on, everybody? Levi? I don't know what that means. Seattle Woodman? Is that French? Who knows? Dirty Acres Homestead. Tape. Yeah, I could do tape. Basically, for those in the chat that, let's see if I'm getting what you're saying correct, Dirty Acres. When you use a tape or a miter saw, especially that one, which I have not changed the blade in far too long, then you have this wood fraying in different directions based on how it's hitting, the blade is hitting the wood and throwing grain. But what you can do is you can put tape over where the cut is going to be. So when you're cutting through the tape and then the wood, the tape aims to hold those fibers without them flipping up. Like you can see, let me show you exactly what I mean by that. You see how they flipped up right here? That's fine, I'll deal with that, but you could put tape around that and it might look like that. Not great still, but it's okay. Pecan does like to splinter just a little bit. It's a very hard wood. It's not soft and kind of spongy like maybe a Padauk is, or walnut, I guess, might be in that category. Okay. Yeah, I could say let's just go for it if you make a few cuts, but it'd be a bad line. Yeah, it could be. So I might cut those into 2-foot chunks, and what I'm going to do is on the table saw, that's going to be a little bit more accurate and hopefully not give me as much fray. You said to say la vie. Ah, gotcha. Yes, c'est la vie. Such is life. Yes, sir. For the tape. That is the tape. CO2 carbon 14. What's going on? That sounds like something in the atmosphere. I don't know. Cool. So I need to, I think that I'm going to be able to get this. Oh my. There's wind in the shop. Oops. Let me get you back here. I think that I'm going to be able to set this distance pretty spot on again. Sometimes if I'm doing a lot of the same thing, I don't ever want to move this if it has to be the exact same. However, again, the sushi rolls don't care if I'm a 32nd of an inch left or right, meaning the board is thick or thin. So I can come back to this. That's 4 1/4. It's going to be the same every single time, but I need to get rid of this guy. And I had a nice crosscut sled not too long ago, but I forget what happened to it. It started falling apart. It started breaking. So a table saw is something that, for the most part, you have that fence, right? And you're pushing something long ways into the blade. You can also push something sideways into the blade, but you need to be able to push it in these tracks right here. So a crosscut sled is something that I have made and should have made for this, but it's okay, where it's going to slide in these tracks and bring a board into the blade, and I can really, really accurately position where that blade is. This is essentially that. It's just not quite as accurate. It did come with the saw, but if you get a track, or if you get a runner in both of these tracks, it's going to keep it very, very square, where this right now is just pretty square. That's okay. I'm not too worried about that. So I can already tell that I'm going to lose the end here, which is a bummer, but that's okay. And you know what I might do, actually? I'll just cut it in half. Let's not complicate things. We got plenty of the wood. We're just gonna cut it in half. And what I'll do in a little bit, so that you can really see how a crosscut sled is supposed to work, I will, I could just do it now, why not? So, what you can do, again, if you have a well-made crosscut sled, you don't have to mess with any of what I'm about to show you here. But since I am working with what I have, this will have to do. I'm going to put this piece of wood, this is a scrap piece of wood, onto my little pusher. There might be a technical term for that. Pusher is what we're calling it today. And I'm going to clamp it so it can't move anywhere. Now this whole thing pushes stuff into the blade. What I will do first, make sure I'm happy with that. Let's also make sure that my clamp, great, won't interfere height-wise. So I am now going to push this into it, and the blade is going to make a cut in this. The blade can only cut in one spot, assuming this clamp doesn't move, which it won't. So, great. Now, I can't move that. That's got to stay. And I can take the whole thing out, but this thing has to stay clamped until I'm done now, because I have a tiny little mark right here where that blade just went. And if I come to my board right here, I'm going to measure, how long is this thing? It's exactly 48 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide up. Basically, if I cut a 12-inch piece and leave the blade outside of that 12 inches, I will have, I could do that here because I am going to get rid of one. Okay, never mind. We're going to make 3 perfectly 12-inch pieces. I do want to flip this around because I like more of the board being over here. Move my stuff. Cool. I can already tell I'm going so much slower because I'm doing a live video, and speed is kind of what I was banking on today. So we're going to see how late I'm at the shop, but I wanted to get a live in today. Why not? So I'm marking 12 inches on the dot right here. And then what I will do is I know exactly where that blade, let's see if you can get in real close here. Let's see if you can get real close. That might be as close as I'm able to put you. What do we got here? What is the best wood? I am an industrial timberman, and I use Vuren? I don't quite know what you mean. I don't know if that's species or if that's like a lumber brand. I don't know what the best wood is. Kind of depends on what you're doing. Okay, so I can line up my dot to where it is on the left side of that tiny little cut that I made. So when the blade goes all the way through it, I should leave 12 inches. If I put my dot in the middle of where that cut is, then I would lose half of the thickness of the blade on this side, etc. So I'll show you. There's a little mark, I promise, on the board right at 12 inches. And I'm going to try to cut that mark in half.
Let's see how we do. I'm going to turn the dust collection back on here. Yep. Safety first. Let's get the stuff out of the way. Okay. Cool. And if you can see it, I did manage to cut that pencil line in half. So that's perfect. That's you right there. Okay. Let's do it again. And I could measure from that guy, but I'm just going to measure another 12 inches. Should be easier to deal with now. Okay.
And then what you'll see, my mask. What you'll see is that this last bit had all that compounding excess or the blade width keep coming off it and coming off of it. So this one, yeah, it's like 11 3/4. But I picked to do it that way because I knew I was gonna lose the entire thing because of that crack. Well, I say that, could I have missed it? I could not have missed it. The crack was in the way the entire time. But this we'll be able to use for something else because I have smaller pieces I can get from this later. So we're gonna set it aside. Cool. Now we're starting to make some progress here. Got these three bad boys. Let's keep them over here. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use these boards that we cut earlier that we already know are the 4 4 inches, right? So I know these are already the right width. I just need to get them to the right length. And this is where we can get a little trickier with where we're taking the 12 inches from. This board right here, I think we're gonna lose stuff on both sides actually. Let's see how long it is. It's short anyway. We're not gonna get 4 out of this. I really hope that we have enough. I think I bought enough wood. So we're gonna get 3 out of this. And this board right here is definitely warped. Hopefully when I cut it into 3 sections, we're gonna lose a lot of that warpage. There is no best wood. I agree with that. Yeah, the board is definitely bowed. I think maybe it was like I saw the entire bow over the 12 feet, but most of the bow was coming from the last 4 feet of it. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna shrink it down. So I'm just over here cutting off. You know what? We're gonna get 3 out of this, right? I want to get, is the bow more prevalent on one end? No, it's right in the middle. So I'm going to cut off as much as I can. 36. That's about right. That's about right. That's about right. And then there. So those are just kind of some guesstimate lines. And all I'm doing right now is I just want to cut this to make it a little bit more manageable. I'm not trying to nail it because I know I have more to play with over here. Let me make sure I have more to play with. I do have more to play with over there. So, and that is completely fine over there. Great. Let me get my mask.
Now I'm just going to mark perfectly 12 inches right here. Cool. I'm going to put that mark on the left side of the little blade slot. What is that noise? This can be used for something else. Cool.
All right, let's go through the logic on the next board. That's good. I don't know what that squeaking is. I'm sure it's just things getting smushed. Good luck. I appreciate it. Yeah, sushi board. That is what we're doing. We're making 60 sushi boards today. So we are on our way. We're definitely behind schedule, but the goal is, assuming my phone battery lasts, that we're going to do a live until these have finishes on them. That's the goal. How many have you made so far? 0. I'm kind of doing the whole thing as a batch. So I have finished 0. But unequivocally, we have to get these larger, the roll boards made. This one's great. This one's really good. Hopefully, I can do more than the 20 roll boards, but when I was talking with the restaurant manager, she was telling me that the boards that they have the rolls on, the long pieces, right? Those are the ones that they run out of the most, and those are what she thinks they'll need the most this weekend. And also, let me just give a little bit of a recap here, because I think I said this when there were like 10 people on the chat earlier. So we'll just give a real quick what is going on. We're making sushi boards today. Sorry, you're wobbling. We're making sushi boards today for a restaurant in Austin, Texas. It's kind of on both of us for why things got so dire and why we need to make a lot, if not all of them today. But long story short, this weekend in Austin, Texas is Formula One. So it's such an influx of people, and this is like their most slammed weekend of the year. And they kind of hit me with a, we need boards come hell or high water this weekend. And to accommodate that, I have to get the first layer of polyurethane finish on these boards today. 3 more go on tomorrow. So the goal is to make 20 of these today. They have a little groove there for sauce, and they're going to also have a logo, so that'll be cool to see. And then 20 smaller ones. That larger one is for the sushi rolls. The smaller ones are for individual pieces of sushi and nigiri. Yeah, let's see. Okay, cool. So this one, I'm not seeing any issues with it, nothing to avoid. We're going to get 4 out of this. Unfortunately, I can tell you it's going to be 48 inches on the dot or less than that is my guess. It is actually miraculously more than that. So we are going to try to make all of them. Okay, the end actually over here has not been cut. You can see, so it's not perfectly squared off, whereas this end has been cut. So I trust the square of this end much better. So we're just gonna start rolling from that side. And I need to make 3 cuts on this, right? So one of them is gonna be a little bit short. That's okay. The original sushi boards that they had were all different sizes. So if one of them's like 1/8 of an inch smaller, so be it, right? We're gonna make them 11 and 15/16, so that at least all 3 of these will be the same. Yeah, cool. All right, back to work. Turn the dust on again. Yep. Oh.
All right, we're making progress.
So that's what we have right now. See that? All right, let's take a second. Are you doing the logos? I am doing the logos, and I'm going to be doing it burned. So I have a laser engraving machine that is in this here little box. Haven't used that in a while. So I will be doing that once these are good to go. And while they're rolling, I'll be able to keep going with the other stuff too. Yeah, isn't that dope? Isn't that YouTube play button pretty cool? I made that actually, yeah. It's gonna be a while before YouTube gives me an official one. So I made that, and I used Padauk wood for the orange part, the red part. Padauk, unfortunately, in my experience, when you first cut it or sand it, it's like electric orange, depending on the actual wood machine, or sorry, I read the next chat. Depending on the tree that you get, some Padauk is like vibrant orange. This one was a little more like blood red, and then as it oxidizes, like most wood does, it gets more dull and less bright red. Apparently Purple Heart, if you've heard of that, Purple Heart wood, as it oxidizes, gets more purple. Go figure. I do have a laser engraving machine. Yeah, it's pretty sick. I actually technically have 2, but I haven't used one of them. Anyway, long story. let's keep going. We got one more of these. How many do we have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7. We're getting there. Move those over here. Let's get this guy. So this is the one that I know I have that thing in, right? And we also have that guy. So we're going to miss that part for sure. I'm gonna cut this in half right on the part that we don't want. Then we can figure things out.
Okay. This is not squared up, so I have to square that up first. And then we have plenty of room here. We just need 24 inches. I got like 27. So I'm just gonna go 12 on the dot over here. Cool. And again, 12 on the dot right there. Might be able to use that. 2 more. And here, we're probably only going to be able to get one. This one. So let's... I see that right here. I'll cut this off.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this guy's perfectly good, perfectly long enough, straight enough. It's just got a chunk taken out of it right here, so that's really not gonna work. Let's see, Big Dog has so many laser engravers, he hasn't used all of them. Yeah. The problem was, somebody actually sent me one, which is really cool of them, but it's a box, it's an enclosed box. Whereas the other one that I'll use today is like open air and it's on these stilts. And so you can put in long pieces, big pieces. You can engrave a table. With the one that's in a box, you can only engrave what will fit in that box. That's kind of where the rubber hits the road. Okay, I'm making a scrap pile where I could cut all my little guys. This thing isn't gonna work because there's a crack that goes in the scrap pile. These guys have been cut to the appropriate length, but they are not cut to the appropriate width. So we are going, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We need 7 more, essentially, and we have a lot of wood. So I think we got plenty of wood. I'm gonna mask up and I'm just gonna kind of rip these into the correct lengths. So I'll talk through it, but that's what I'm doing now.
Okay. Let's get this guy. And remember, all of these are going to be they're kind of bowed, unfortunately. Is there anything we're trying to miss here? The answer is no. I think both of these are pretty squared up, honestly. That's pretty much 48 on the dot. So I think what we're going to do here is we are just going to mark on every foot line, and then we're going to put the blade in the middle of that foot line. I think that's the way to do it. Again, the Sushi doesn't care if it's a 1/16 of an inch short of what it's supposed to be. Thank you. Bang. Cool. So now the tick is going to go directly in the middle of this cut. So we currently
Have 17 boards in this pile, these piles over here. 17 for the big guys, and we need 20. So we're doing actually really well. I don't know what math I was doing. I think that I accounted for more boards getting scrapped or wasted, and we still might have those because there's more steps in this process. The laser engraver could stop midway through one of the engravings, or when I'm doing that groove, I could mess it up. So I do definitely want to make more than 20, and then if I happen to kill them all, then great, they get a few more boards, they're going to be happy with that. But we have 17 already, and you know, it's actually not going to be as crazy because this one, we're probably going to lose at least one board from it. Although, if we take it from the other side, maybe not. But there's a big crack over here. Although I'm looking at that, and is that 4 1/4? It is 4 1/4. We're not going to lose any from this one. Fantastic. So let's do the same thing. That's the whole, if I make them into the length first, then I can dip and dodge wherever I want to miss big old knots or cracks or holes or that sort of thing. Let's see how we did on this guy. Do we have a little extra, or are we going to have to give them some 11, 15, 16ths sushi boards? Yeah, they're getting 11 and 15, 16ths sushi boards. $12, $24, $36, and $48. We have like maybe a 16th over, so maybe the last one will be okay.
putting the line right in the middle of the cut here.
something that I did notice that's a little bit disappointing is that on those bigger ones, and this is on me right here, because I have a makeshift crosscut sled today, when I'm pushing at the very end, it seems like the board is kind of smushing into the blade. And because pecan wood is so dense, it gets really hot when it's on a blade for too long. And so a lot of these guys, unfortunately, have burn marks. So what that means is that once they are cut to the correct thickness, or width, I might need to just take off like a 64th of an inch when there's not as much weight on both sides of my makeshift crosscut sled. We're gonna do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. We're gonna do one more. I know I have plenty of wood to do all the small guys, so I'm gonna give myself 4 more in case things go wrong, which I know they're going to on these subsequent steps. And I don't think they're going to be upset if, let's say I nail it, let's say I get all of them, at least they're gonna be stoked about that. Mike, what's going on? Good to have you here, dude. Good to see you again. We're making sushi boards for a restaurant who's having a big weekend in Austin with Formula One in town. They're on South Congress, which is a hopping place in Austin. But with all the influx of people and tourists for the races, they said the weekend's slammed. We've been talking about making these sushi boards for a while now. Had a little bit of delay, both parts, them, me. But anyway, they need boards by this weekend. So we have a lot of work to do. It's only one. We've only been going an hour. We're great. We're actually so great. Yeah. So we're gonna make 4 more. Man, this board's heavy. That's interesting. This board's like noticeably heavier. We're not trying to miss anything here. This guy looks beautiful. Wow, that is quite frayed at the end. That's okay. And let's see how much extra we left ourselves. Same thing. We're just gonna make marks directly on the feet, and then the blade's gonna take a little bit off, so they're gonna be left, instead of 12-inch boards, it'll be like 11 and 15/16. As I've been saying, I don't think the sushi minds. If we were making cabinets, that would be an issue. But throwing a sushi roll onto a plank, it's a little less precise than cabinetry.
So I cut it in half first, and the goal with cutting it in half first is just setting the weight. Let's see if I can try to do this without burning it this time. That didn't work. Yeah, we got a little at the end. I tried to be quick with it, and instead I did it worse. That's all right. That's all right too. Cool. All right.
So we know that I've got these big ones, right? All the sushi roll platters. We also know that I will need to do these little guys too. But I think what I want to do is, let's turn the dust collection off so I can talk to you. What I think that I want to do is I want to get all the big sushi boards done with, because they need that extra groove, and they also need the laser engraving machine. And the laser engraving machine, I think I have to hit go, and then it will start running. And I'll show you guys that. It's really cool. But I'm going to hit go, and then I don't know how long each logo takes. I don't know if it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I'll have to dial it in to get the intensity correct. But what I'm thinking is that I'll hit go, a logo is gonna start ripping out, and while it's going, I can come back over to the table saw and I can work on these smaller ones. I think the smaller ones are gonna go really, really quickly. And they don't need a laser, they don't need a groove. So that's the goal there. I'm going to keep the clamp on my crosscut sled so that when I put this back onto the table saw, that mark where the blade was will still be accurate. I'm just going to put this in the corner over here. But now we know that this stack right here, they have been ripped to the correct width. This stack over here has not been ripped to the correct width. So we need to pull the fence back out, put that on. Excellent. Get that lined up. Okay, and we are going, where the hell? Here it is. 4 1/4. And 4 1/4 is in the middle of the blade. I was going to get a new saw blade so that I'd just be ripping through this. But then I was like, you know what? It's going to be okay. It'll work. And to take a new saw blade out of the package and just crank out pecan boards that are really, really hard and dense, I was like, nah, I'm gonna try to get one more use out of this blade. Just kind of kill it with these boards, and then we'll put a new one on when we're not asking it to be as industrial, essentially. That's 4 1/4. I'm happy with that. Let's put the old one in here just to make sure I'm not crazy. Nope, it's 4 1/4. That's cool. All right. I do want to check large 4 1/4. Okay, so now I'm going to rip these. And here's the thing, because I did, I could probably sand the ends instead of cutting. I could. I don't know how deep those burns go in there, and I'm trying to go for maximum efficiency here. I will sand the edges of all of these to make sure that they're not sharp and splintery for the patrons of the restaurant. But I'm going to do that on a belt sander and just like touch it on the edges and the corners. So there you go. Let's see, what else we got? They finally have a good craftsman on the project. I appreciate it. I don't know if you're talking about me, Mike. I hope you are. Or I don't know, I might be missing something there. But thank you if you're talking about me. Good to have you back. Now that I've cut all of those boards, this big stack, and I can put it over here so you can see it. Oh, shit. Okay. One of these boards, I did not cut off the end, and so it's still orange. We'll deal with that later. Because I cut all these boards to their foot-long length now, I have a lot of ability to dodge things in order to get the 4 1/4 inches. When I was ripping them at like 4 feet, there might be a left part that's really good and a right part that's really good. Now, I just pick every single one, and I have a lot of control over that. So here, I see there's just a few tiny little cracks, and I'm going to try to get rid of those and leave the other side. So I'll still talk while I'm doing this. I'm going to put everything back on. And can you guys hear me when I have the mask on and everything? I hope you can. For the sushi boys. Yes, sir, Mike. I'll still talk, and I'll say like, okay, I'm trying to dodge this little part, so I'm going to put that over here. But yeah, let me know if you can hear me while I have the mask on and everything, and the dust collection's going. But let's give it a go.
So yeah, I'm missing, there's some cracks over here. I want to miss those. So I have it outside of the blade. This is an elite per stick. So on this guy, it's just an aesthetic thing. I'm going to try to keep a little half and half here. Same thing, little half and half action. Just an aesthetic choice. Same thing, just an aesthetic choice. Yeah, I like a little half and half. Okay, I see a crack here, so I'm going to try to avoid that crack with the big sushi board. So the crack goes on the outside, and I actually like this for aesthetics too. Trying to show you the piles. Okay. This guy. Is purely aesthetics. There's a little crack here, I want to avoid him. Big crack on that. Can I get a board out of here? Yeah. That was tasteful. Okay, that's the one that I gotta come back to. Just aesthetics. Cool. Same, just aesthetics. These are really cool boards. So this guy, definitely want to get rid of him. So I'm going to put him on the outside. Perfect. I can still do something with that. Purely aesthetics here. What I'm trying to do for the aesthetics is have as many colors on all the boards as possible. So right here, if I cut it on this line, this board has both the sapwood and the heartwood, and then these boards also have the heartwood and the sapwood. That's interesting. Cool. Woo! Goodness.
Okay, let's check the chat real fast. We can hear you just a little muffled. Fantastic. Okay, man, dust collection and an extractor for the other tools. You aren't gonna get, well, I didn't, oh, okay, right on. Yeah, we're doing well, guys. So we now have, how many of these things? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 24 of the larger boards, which is sweet. We needed 20, and hopefully, assuming that I don't blow any of them, we're gonna get them 24, which will be excellent. And then the pile that I was making over here, these guys are all just under 3 inches. Yeah, they're very close to 3 inches, and that's what they need to be. And they are, whoa! Yeah, they all need to be 3 inches by 5 and 3/4, which that's elite because I'll be able to get 2 of them from each of these. Yeah, that's actually extraordinarily clutch. Fantastic. So I'm gonna move these. The next thing I want to do is I want to start working on, I think I want to work on the groove next. So let me get the exemplar piece. Here we go. So this is what I'm trying to do. This groove right here. And the idea behind it is that when they put the rolls on these sushi platters, they have a sauce that goes with it, some house sauce that's pretty good. I've actually been there, and it was fantastic. But the sauce is apparently just runny enough to where if they put it on a flat surface, it kind of runs off and it loses, like, I think they do like half one, half the other. And if there's no trench for it, it kind of runs off and it swirls together and it's not as cool. So what they want me to do is make this, the sauce goes in there and it holds it perfectly to where you can still dip the sushi and flip it on out of there. It's not some really sharp cornered trench. What's going on? Abbas, we're gonna, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Good to have you in the chat. Awesome. Joe Mama, thank you for the comment about the mask. So here's what's going on with the trench. The way we're going to do it is we're going to use a router right here. And the router, I'll be sitting on the ground for this, but I'll take you along with me, don't worry. Let me actually bring you there right now. So we're going to be using this homemade router table. This is specifically for this exact project. So here's what's going on, team. We'll flip you this way so you got a cool background with that table over there. Just like this. Is that a cool enough background? Yeah. That table is going to be something we're going to start really cranking on pretty soon here. Okay. So here's what's going on. First of all, I had to disassemble it, which is a real bummer. I think I can put it back together. I think so. So the way this works is we're going to have the router underneath here with this little cove bit, this guy, popping up. And it's going to be popping up just above the surface right here. And if I've done everything correctly, these two stops prevent the board from continuing to travel in any one direction, and it ends the groove. And this guy is going to be right here, and that is going to space the groove from the edge a set amount every single time. And again, the router gets plugged in via these two little holes right here. So I'm going to now set that up. What I want to do first is I got a new router bit today because this is something where if you have old stuff, you are going to get quite a bit of burning. You don't want that. So I got a brand new router bit to replace the old one. It's the exact same, as you can see. Let me take you with me. Let me grab a drink of water real fast because I've been kind of going for almost 2 hours here without really taking a break. But yeah, the new router bit should make it to where we don't have nearly as much burning, and that's going to be good so we don't have to sand it. Yeah, it's good. I haven't eaten lunch, but right before the stream, I slammed a chicken breast, just ate it with my hands like a rat. And I ate some bread, so I'm fueled up. So what we got to do is, first, I want to put the new router bit in here. I know I have. All right. It's going to take me just a second to kind of set this guy up, but then once we got it going, it should be relatively, just bang them all out sort of thing. Although I will say, they always make these router bits incredibly difficult to get out of their containers. Lifetime guarantee, they say. It just might be, but I don't know if that is accurate for pecan wood, because pecan's extremely hard. Okay. I don't want to slice my hand open trying to get this thing out of here. Stay hydrated, King. Yeah. It would probably be bad if I passed out here. It'd be a while before anybody found me, unless it was on live. But I don't know if any of you would know what to do if I passed out on live. That's okay. I'm working it out. You see what's going on? They put it in this little Excalibur thing. I'm trying to take it out, and there we go. I got it. Okay. The key is trying to set the router bit to the exact same height that the example that I gave to them was set at. So we're going to see if we can do that. So you put the bit in here, and I know it's a Ryobi. I know. Listen to me. I know. I had a DeWalt, but it died on me, and then I was immediately going to replace it. But when I went to Home Depot that day to replace it, they did not have any of the DeWalts in stock. And so eventually, I'll probably go get another router, and I use a router enough to where, honestly, I should probably get a really nice one. But this damn Ryobi won't die. It still turns. It doesn't, maybe the better ones turn faster, but I see no problems with this guy. Yeah, what we need to do here, I need a screwdriver. Where are the screwdrivers? You might ask. I don't know, is what I'll tell you. No, I got one. Now I need a bit, need a screwdriver bit, a Phillips head. Do I have any immediately available on my pile of junk? I have some. I don't know if any of them are the right size. This big meaty guy is too meaty. All right. So we're gonna take this little I don't know, guide plate, whatever you want to call it, off. It's only 2 screws, and it's only 2 screws because I've lost the other 2 screws. So it typically has 4 screws, but you know, such is life. So here we go. That guy's now gone. Then what we need to do, we need to clear off my table of all its accoutrement, and then we need to, let's see, this guy, can he, don't fall, little buddy. You still have a lot more life left in you. Here's an issue. I don't remember which holes I used, and that will drastically change. Man, that actually worked pretty well. Yeah, it looks actually really good. Just like that. Okay, so now what's going on here is that I'm able to put these two little screws through the piece of plywood here that I've made, and it will screw into the router underneath it. And the only thing I don't know is if I'm using different holes than last time. I don't think so. I think we're okay. Because if I'm using different holes, it's going to position my bit at a slightly different place than last time. Okay. Now, we're now screwed in. All right. Great. This thing should now not move. And you know what I could do? If I put it in here, then I will have to disassemble this thing. So I'm going to put this guy, if I can grab him. Holy moly. What enthralling content. Get the hell out of there. I got him. I can put him in this guy. I can put him in this guy. Bam. Okay. And again, I used to have 4 screws. I don't know what happened to them all. So hopefully 2 of them is going to hold everything in place. Now, what I have to try to figure out is which way did this dude go on here? It's probably like this. Yeah, it's like that. And is it this way or is it this way? I had to disassemble this thing. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to grab my drill. And I'm just going to have a little bit of a spike poking out so that I can line it up with the holes that I've already drilled. And I can't remember if I've said this or explained it clearly, but I already made this, obviously, for the samples, and it worked really well. So I'm just trying to remake it because I had to get my router out of here, and I was stupid because I put this back rail, this back guide, over one of the holes that I needed to get the router out. So that's why I put both my screws over here so that when I put this guy on, 50-50 shot that we're right. I think we're wrong. I think we're wrong. That felt no better. Oh, that's it. That's it. Okay, fantastic. So now we can put this guy, hello, what's going on, dudes? We can put this guy right here. We'll need to move the cord underneath it. And let's tighten them in there. Can you see what I'm doing? Oh yeah, you can see. Okay. All right, excellent. So now I do want to, oh shoot, the thing we got to make sure of, and let me get you down here. The thing we got to make sure of is right now this is set in an arbitrary height. I think it's set to the correct depth. I've got this line right here, which to me looks as if that's the central line that I was trying to measure, and the center of the bit is over that center line. So I am happy with that. What I need to make sure of is number one, that we are indeed equidistant, the center of this guy is equidistant from the two stops. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop right here, stop right there. If it's not equidistant, then you're going to have a different amount of overhang on both. This is like just over 11, maybe 11 and a 16th to the center. And this guy is, yeah, just about the same. He might be 11 and an eighth. That guy, it's very, very close. No one will ever know the difference. Definitely good for me. And then the depth right here is what the depth is. I like that. So what we have to figure out now is how high to set this thing so that it matches the original one. We also have to put the damn power cord under it so it's not resting all weird. Should have done that before. And don't worry, we are going to clamp this beautifully crafted, this is called a jig. At least that's what I would call it. Maybe someone else would call it something different. This is called a jig, where it does one thing really, really well, and other than that, it does nothing. All right, what do we got here? Guaranteed to last a lifetime. Guaranteed to last the lifetime of this bit. That's exactly right, GR. This is the third one of these that I've gone through. I'd recommend this brand. It's Diablo. It's the, they make like cutting tools, blades, sandpapers, router bits, drill bits. I'd recommend them, but lasting a lifetime, that's kind of tough to do. What else do we got? A tool is a tool. You bet it is. Thomas, what's going on? The Butcher, 92. Equal. What is equa? Equidistant? Am I crazy? Equidistant's a thing. Right. So what we have to figure out now, let me go grab the template. We have to figure out how to make that thing the correct height. And so what I'm going to do is, we'll bring you down here. Sorry, there's what I'm working with. Good grief, that's really bouncy, gang. Okay. That's as low as we can go. So what I'm working with is I need to get this thing flat, because right now it's resting. The groove on this one, there is a groove on this one. You see what I'm saying? The groove on that one is resting on the bit right there. But as you can see, it is a little bit too high. And so there's a way on the router where I can loosen it and lower it and watch it go down. See what I'm saying? And that's going to be pretty much perfect right there. Awesome. So it's not coming up by much anymore, just a little bit. And I wish I could see underneath, but I can't. Is it? Yeah, it's touching just a little, which is fantastic. I want it just to touch, right? So I think that's going to be great. I think we're all set up. I'm going to clamp this down in the back here so that things aren't flying around on me. One clamp. Another one's over here. 2 clamps. Red fish, blue clamps. All right. And we'll do one tester to make sure that I have indeed set this up correctly. So here are the boards, right? So I'll have to basically put it down, and it's going to be tough because you don't want to put it down at the end. Burning's really going to be the issue here. So you got to put it down, and then like you can't ever really quit moving. And I can also tell you that that might want to jump on me, and I don't want it to jump on me, but it might. So, you know, firm, smooth, steady hand, keep things moving. Don't let it jump. You'll see it. I'm sure it'll happen. Let me plug this bad boy in. And it's going to create a lot of sawdust, and I do not have a dust collection for the router. There are routers and attachments that you can do to have a dust collection for a router. I have never bothered with it. It just, I make sawdust, and that's what happens. So let's give it a go. This one obviously does not stop if my hand comes in contact with it. So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen.
Got the mask on. Got this. And then I'm also going to make sure that I pick the prettiest side to go down, because this is the upside, right? There we go. Here we go. Okay. All right. So, a couple things
That I'll mention to you that I forgot to before we started going. Number one, routers like to go, they like things being pushed over them in a certain direction. And in this case, it is this way. If you try to go the other way, now you're moving it basically like, and you're not in harmony with the way the blade is going. So I need to always push it this way. So one of the ends is really easy to get because you just go until the other end hits. But this one, you have to like put it down and kind of like force the bit into it. So there's one side that takes a little bit longer, but I'm very, very happy with how that's looking. I do want to check it with the original guy, and it looks pretty damn similar. I can't discern a difference in the two of them, which is excellent. I don't know if you guys can, but I think those look really, really good. And the new bit, it didn't burn as much on the ends, which was fantastic. So that's the move, gang. Let's crank these out. I'll put you at different angles so you can kind of see what's going on from different angles. Where's a cool place? I don't know if there's a cool place to put all this stuff. See if we can get 24 of these done real fast. How long did one take? Was that like a minute? Probably less than a minute. I'll get faster at them. I don't want to go too fast because that's when you lose boards. The other disappointing thing is I don't know what this metal base is that I'm using here, but as you can see, I am on the ground. I could put this on top of something, but would it be too high then? I don't know. Let me do one more, just to keep going, make myself feel good. And then we might try to put this on the saw or something, so that I'm not literally bent over like a rat. Here we go.
Hopefully the noise is not too aggressive. Hopefully it's kind of soothing. And remember, the good side goes down, so you won't see the good side. So, I know it looks relatively straightforward.
And it theoretically is. By practice, it's actually kind of difficult. We're 1 for 2. I don't know if you can see the end here, but I botched the end. I just didn't grab it correctly, and then I like kind of took it off, but I kind of put it back down, and I dragged it, and the stop at the end wasn't doing anything. So I let it go too far, and now the end looks not good. And the other side, I don't even know what I did. So it's like you'd like to think that it's just as easy as running it over it. Turns out it's not. So we're 1 for 2. Remember the 24 boards that I thought I was going to be able to give them? It's now 23 after 2 boards. So we got to lock the hell in here because that ratio is not going to cut it, gang. Let's see. Let's see if we can go 2 for 3.
right. Right on. It's going better.
I got the technique down a little bit better, so that helps. I am going to try to put this on something, because you can't see me. I'm hunched over. I'm going rat mode, goblin mode, whatever you want to call it. That's the mode I'm going. So here's what I'm going to try. I have another one of these. So maybe I can put two of them on top of each other, maybe put some cinder blocks on it so it's not top heavy. Here we go. I'm gonna give that a go. That's the one. You see it? That guy right there. We're going to put them on top of each other, clamp them together, cinder blocks on bottom. Maybe then I can be a real woodworker and not be hunched on the ground. What do we think? Yeah. Oh gosh, the phone's on the cable. Okay. Oh, that's so much better. Okay. That's it. That's it. Work smarter, not harder, gang. And then if you're not smart, work hard. And a lot of times I'm not smart when I do these things. See what I'm saying? We can clamp that now. Oh, ergonomic. Okay, we need clamps. One of the clamps I can't use because it is currently holding, you know what we're going to use? Remember how earlier I was using that cross-cut thing? And I said as long as we don't take the clamp off, we can use that same hole. I'm going to take the clamp off. We'll just make a new hole. What do we got, Seattle Woodmen? Is it worth putting another piece of wood on the other side of the track to make it so there can't be any side-to-side movement? Then it just goes back and forth. Yes, that is an option. Basically, he's saying add another like checkpoint, another guide for it to where you basically put it in a slot. But I don't know, the way I'm using my thumbs and like kind of pushing it in, I don't know if I'd be able to like get it out and set it in perfectly every time. And I can also tell you that it's quite possible that there are two slightly different widths of all of those boards because I cut them at two different times. It should be really close. And I just don't know how perfect I would need to get that additional guide to where it's not wobbling back and forth. And it's really easy to see if when you're doing this, you oscillate from the line. And because I'm able to put a lot of good pressure on one side, it feels like I'm going straight. That's a really good idea. And if I would have made the original, all of these guys at the exact same thickness when I was ripping them, that might be the move. But I don't know how difficult it would be to like set it in there. You know what I'm saying? I like the idea a lot. And it's also, I'm kind of lazy right now and I'm just trying to rip it. And it's like, this is working. And for me to, I'd have to cut these guys to an exact length. So I'd have to like take these out, cut them to an exact length, find a new piece, screw it on. I think that just might be a little more difficult right now than I want to deal with. Because I don't know, I just got done like what? Was that like six of those things? And it wasn't too bad. And that's good because this was kind of the part that I thought was gonna really take a long time. So I'm clamping these two together. They no longer will be able to move. Where's the other clamp? It's on my cross-cut sled. That's cool. That's cool. All right. And then, how's this feeling? It's a little wobbly. Can I get a cinder block? Ah. I use cinder blocks all the time. Will it fit nicely? Oh, that fits great. It's still wobbly. That's okay. That's okay. It does feel like it would be hard to topple. I think it's just, yeah. Ooh, I got shims. I don't think it's a instability thing. I think it's a the floor is not flat thing. Putting shims underneath it. That's pretty good. Yo, that's some ingenuity right there. What do we got? Cinder Block is my son's name. God bless your son, Joe Mama. He's got the quickest 40 time in the Southwest, doesn't he? Mr. Biffix, what's going on? Good to have you in the chat. I don't know if that's the first time you've been here. It's the first time I've seen you. Okay, so let's get a little bit better angle here. Now that we're set up a little bit better. Yes. Yes. So these are the guys that are good. We got one that I messed up. So we have 6. Just kidding, we have 5. Move that so you can see it. All right. We'll put a stack over here. This is the bad, or the not done stack. Okay, great. I think we're all in place now. Nothing left to do but make some more of these things. You know what I never did? I never cut off the end of that one that had the orange on it. Did I? Oh, it's right here. Hello. We'll get that later. Maybe. Let's go. Let's do it. We're making sushi boards for everyone who's just tuning in. Good to have you. We're not even close, but we're making progress. We have to get 60 of them done today. I have 0 done. It's been 2 hours. But we're starting to cook.
All right. These goggles aren't very tight, man. There we go. Oh, now they're really tight. All right, let's do it. Good side facing down. Right here. right.
All right, we'll take a second. Um, let's read the chat here. I have these safety gloves for cooking, like for chopping and peeling, that are baby chainmail. Anything like that for woodworking? Interesting. Never heard of that. Quite possibly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If you just have one knife blade that you kind of hit while you're cooking, I could imagine it would deflect it. But if you have a knife blade traveling at, I don't know, 800 RPM, 1000 RPM, whatever this guy's going, I don't know if it would like catch up in the chainmail and kind of crank your tractor. It quite possibly could. Things are going well. We have, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're halfway done with these guys. That's fantastic. I have no, I wonder if we can get like a really cool like undershot. What do we think? Should we try it? Let me just look around. Let me look around in there. What happens? Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Okay. That won't do. Can we see? Oh, we might be able to see it from here. Nah, there's not much there. All right, we're just trying to get creative with some camera angles. It didn't work. We'll bring you back and get a little bit better. The longer the stream goes, the more disheveled I look, don't I? Let's put you back here. Let's get you a different view. Now we're going to be going towards it. Okay. Let's crank out another, what's half? What's half? There's 5, 6. Let's crank out 7. Then we'll read the chat. Let's see. Can you do it level with the table? I could certainly try. I could certainly try. I apologize as I'm doing this and you're jiggling around. It's not the intention, but we'll try that. This will move. What do we think? That's probably a cool view, right? That's probably cool. All right. Yeah. While I'm going, I don't know, think of some questions. Anything you're curious about? I'll stop after 6 and I'll read the chat for a second.
What time is it? It's 2:15. We're doing all right. We're not doing great, but we're doing all right. Let's go. Where's the on button?
All right, as promised, I was going to read the chat after a few of them. So what's going on? Okay, let's see. You can do it level with the okay, we got that. Perfect. Did you already speak on the wood? Yeah, I did, but I'm sure there's a lot of people here who are new that didn't hear it originally. So the wood we're using is pecan wood. And pecan wood is really cool because exactly right, Joe Mama, it is that two-toned wood. So you can see over here a full plank of the two-toned wood. The reason it's two-toned, you have the heartwood, which is this dark stuff. Some people call it core wood, heartwood, whatever. And then you have the outside, which is called sapwood, and that's lighter. And you can actually see it really clearly displayed in, bang, this live edge slab right here. This is the exact same species. This is pecan, but this was not from, I don't know actually, these might have been from a pecan orchard, these planks. This was from in someone's field that just fell over. There's a sawmill that I work with, independent of me, they do their own thing, but I work with them to get cool slabs. They go and they pick up slabs of wood from people's property and they make them into, or logs, and they make them into live edge slabs. You can see the heartwood and the sapwood is on the outside and it's that light color. So the cool thing about pecan is that in Texas, there's a lot of pecan. It's everywhere. And so it's really inexpensive. Like this piece is really inexpensive compared to something like walnut or white oak. But apparently, yeah, up in the north, I don't know if pecan is as inexpensive because it's not as prevalent there. So yeah, the two-tone's really, really cool. The one knock on pecan is that it's really hard, like it's hard wood. And so it can be very taxing on your tools and your blades. Let's see. Watching the wood slowly sink into that bit on the first pass, yeah, so satisfying to see. It definitely is. What I'm trying to do there is when I get here, I'll show you what's going on. When I get to the end, when I'm pushing a block to the end and I get to this side, I'm hitting the stop over here, so the blade is just arriving at the trailing end, and right when I get there, I'm trying to take it off as quick as possible so the blade doesn't sit too long and linger and burn that wood. The other side's a little bit more difficult because, like I was saying earlier, the wood doesn't want to travel this way. The direction that the router is spinning prevents the wood from wanting to travel, or it doesn't prevent it from wanting to travel. Let's just say that I don't want to push it this way and have the cutting teeth really cutting. That's when it could like throw this around. So it's harder to get to the other side. So what I've been doing is I've been starting it not quite on the edge here and just like pushing it down and kind of letting it sink in there and keep working it and working it and working it. Then the last pass is when I try to get all the way down and leave it as quick as possible right there so that I'm not burning the other side as well. It's really difficult. Again, pecan's a super, super hard wood, and so burns are tough to make not happen at all. I'm watching some kickback action. I'm watching for some kickback action. That is, yeah, one of the scary things with routers and router tables. The idea is that you want as many guide points and like things to help it push down and not jump as possible. GR, my man, appreciate you coming to the chat today. Thank you very much for all your comments and insights. As always, love to have you here. Yeah, kickback can be scary for this. I feel, let's hope that I only have 6 left, 7 left, 6, 7. I feel relatively steady with it. Like there's enough, my hands are on it and I'm really, guiding things along. I haven't felt any like, oh, that kind of feels like some kickback almost happening. What can you do about the burns if that does happen in the groove? The honest answer is to sand it out, but it's really difficult to do so, especially with pecan. It's hard to get in there. It's almost like you have to get it with your thumb or you have to get some sort of sanding bit and a Dremel. The good news is that the brief burn marks that I do have on some of these they were also in the sample pieces that I gave to the sushi restaurant. I didn't even say anything about it, and they didn't say anything about it either. I think that the sauce that they're putting in that groove kind of goes over the burn mark altogether. But that ball nose bit is extremely difficult. Uh, Typically, when you're using it, it's like the two places that I know to use it are my sushi boards right here, and the other one is like the juice groove of a cutting board. And I can tell you that I've made juice grooves in cutting boards, and it's really difficult to not have it burn whenever you are getting to an area that you have to slow down. If you keep moving, then you're cool. But it's when you sit there, linger just for a second. Yeah, this is a sauce trough, is exactly what it is. Uh, the sushi restaurant, when they were talking to me and were asking about it, they thought that was the coolest thing in the world, that their sauce wasn't going to run anymore. The simple things, man. People like what they like. So let's crank out these last few, and then the next step is going to be really cool. We're going to do the laser engraving. I think that's the next step I want to do. Yeah, so that'll be really cool. Let me knock out these last few, and then, yeah, think of more questions if you have them. Get us close again. Yeah, I got you. Right there. That's great. My phone battery is doing surprisingly well. I'm kind of impressed with that. I had it fully charged by the time I got in here. After I get these next few done, I'm going to grab a drink of water too, so we can talk for a second while I'm fueling up. But I got, how many left? 7? 6. I have 6 left. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you the boards before I actually put them in there. I don't know, to see if you're watching and you're like, oh yeah, I would have chosen the exact same face up, face down, and also which side the groove goes on. Because what I'm thinking is like, you want the good side up, obviously, and I picked this side because, I don't know if it, yeah, you can see it. Do you see the figuring in the wood there? The figuring is this cross stripes. That's not a saw mark or anything. That is internal stress in the wood, and it's really prevalent in like the bodies of electric guitars. It's a maple. Maple has a lot of it, but pecan actually has some, and it looks like tiger stripes, like shimmering tiger stripes. And so I'm showing you guys the boards before I do it, just so that if you want to play along, you can also be like, okay, yeah, I would have chosen the other side to be face up, and I would have had the juice groove on the right, not the left. But it's kind of fun maybe to see if you agree with what I do. This is purely just aesthetic at that point. Here we go.
So, this guy. Which side would you do? Do you like more of the heartwood and a little bit of sapwood? Or do you like 50-50? I don't know what I'm going to do. And then do you put the juice groove over here or over here? Or over here, over here? See what you think. I'm going to keep rolling. Okay.
So, remember when I went 1 for 2 at the very beginning? I figured it out. We figured it out. Squeege Lord looking in. What up, Squeege man? Goat, appreciate it, Seattle Woodman. Yeah, I still trying to figure out the best angles for everything. Yeah, Joe Mama, thank you for the help on the camera angle. That's what I'm talking about. Big Squeegee, how we doing, bud? Good to have you in the chat. Okay, these are the sushi boards. Yes, these are the sushi boards. And we're making really good progress. I don't know if we're making good time. I don't know about that. It's currently 2:36. I don't know when I'm gonna get to go home, but we're making good progress because now we have, what is this? 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 22, 23. We have 23. And you know what? We're gonna do 24 real fast. I have to cut the orange bit off, but why not give them 24, right? Hold on. Let me just do this because, we might mess up some of the logos for sure. And if we do, we want to make sure that we at least get them 20.
So give me just a second. Let's get this last one done. Which side? That side. We'll need this side up. Right on.
We'll have to cut that. We can cut that. So let me put you over here, and then I'm gonna grab some water, and we can talk. Well, I'm grabbing water real fast. What is time, Squeege? What is time, my man? I'm right here. Don't you worry. I'm not going anywhere. These pieces need to get delivered tomorrow. They were supposed to get delivered today. These two. Can you even see them? Not really. But I called an audible with the interior designer and I said, hey, big dog, your boy wants to deliver these tomorrow because I have to make 60 sushi boards today. Whoo! Yeah, so just grabbing a drink of water and we're going to get right back to it and get the laser engraver going and get logos on these. And what we can do for the laser engraving, we'll get there in a second. Oh, cool. Let's do the laser engraver. Let's get it out. Let's get it going. Here is the laser engraver. It's in this box. That's one of the cool things about being able to make stuff is that I can just make a box for my laser engraver. This is my prop phone for Instagram when I need to pretend like I'm on the phone for whatever reason, but I need to film with my phone. This is my brick phone so that I can look like I'm taking a call for a bit or whatever. So this guy, ow. Oh, goodness. Isn't that cool? That's sick, right? Kind of hard to take down, not gonna lie. But you open it up. Let me get you in here. Let me get you in here. I would definitely recommend this technique. It was kind of a little bit of a pain to make it all work, but now that it does, my laser engraver stays out of the dust and out of the way until I need it. I come in here. This is attachments that I've never used. I do have to find a place to put my laser engraver. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. Check this out. what I have to do is I've got this piece of plywood over here that right now has just been kind of my junk table so that you guys didn't see this in the stream. However, I guess you're seeing it in the stream. And what I'm gonna, oh man, what was that? We're okay. What I'm gonna do is I need to draw a grid on this guy so that my laser engraver can be nice and square to everything. And then I can basically have a mark where I put the boards every single time. Does your dog sleep in there? In the laser engraving, I guess, machine holder? She probably couldn't fit. She probably wouldn't be happy about that. Oh, geez. She's very spoiled in terms of where she sleeps. She takes up more of the bed than I do. All right, this is going to be the laser engraving table. It's a very high-end laser engraving table. The best money can buy, actually. The only laser engraving table that money can buy that is better than this is if I didn't get 3/4 inch plywood, but instead I got, or no, this is 0.5. Never mind. That was stupid. Bad joke. Bad joke. I blew the delivery. All right. We're going to do it, gang. We're going to get all these done. Why is she never on stream? That's a great question. So she used to come out to the shop with me a lot more. The shop is on a little bit of land. It's not my land. I rent. I'm not a landowner. That'd be crazy. But she used to come out and just kind of roam, and that's cool. And I trust the fence 95%. But there's a few areas where she could definitely hop over the fence or hop under the fence. And she's been chased by a buck, like a deer, like with huge antlers before, because she was chasing it and pissing it off, and it turned around and started chasing her. If she got out of the property, homegirl looks like a coyote, and we are in the heart of coyote territory. And the person next to the shop and the next property shoots a lot of guns, and I'd be afraid that my dog would look like a coyote and someone might, I don't know, not want coyotes there, if you catch my drift. Finette, what is going on? Hey from France. That's what I'm talking about. Good to have you here. Exciting to see you. Okay, this is the laser engraving table. Now we've got somewhere where we can put the actual laser engraver. Can we still see me? No, we can't. That's all right. I'll be over in just a second. Let's see what of all of this I can grab in one go. Oh my gosh. It's really difficult actually to get it all, but I'm gonna give it a try. Ah. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. Ah. Money. Okay. This is the old engraver. She's had her work cut out for her. Had a lot of miles put on this bad boy. She did a lot more originally when I was doing more like cutting boards and kind of smaller things. People don't typically want tables engraved with stuff. And so now it's for these kind of interesting odd projects that, you know, happen every couple months or so. Great. This is where we are at. What I'm able to do, I don't think I need to put this on any legs today. I think it's good where it's at. So I'm squaring it up with, you know what? I'm going to grab a right angle here because I really want to make sure that when I do all these logos, they are perfectly square to the laser engraver. Does that make sense? This thing's kind of in the way. So I'm just going to draw a few lines. I can kind of place the board wherever I want it to as long as I make the laser engraver start at the correct spot. But I need to make sure that wherever I place it, it is perfectly squared up with what the laser engraver is squared up to. Yeah, okay, one line's fine. That's fine. So now I put this back. See, I've got that line in there now. So that line I know is perfectly squared to what the laser engraver is perfectly squared to. Allegedly, as I'm putting it on the little legs, it definitely does not feel like those want to be square with this piece of plywood. That's okay. And then the laptop will go here. Yeah, the laptop can go there. All right, now we got to figure out how to turn this thing on again. Let me let you come with me. I gotta grab something real fast. Did the client like the big heavy table? That's a great question, and that's actually a perfectly timed question because the big heavy table is right here. It's in there, and that is the table with the curved corner, as you can see. Those are both getting delivered tomorrow. I don't know. I'm actually pretty nervous about that one. That one's going to be a scary one. I'm just grabbing an extension cord that has more prongs. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, so I have to deliver that. I was going to deliver it today, but it was one of those where I didn't want to have to call this short what I'm working on right now, these sushi boards, because I have to go, run over there. And, ow! Oh, that hurt. Just smashed my back into that corner. So, yeah, I didn't want to have to promise a delivery at a certain time today and then cut this short and not get the finish on the sushi board today, which I need to get on today. That really hurt, man. Okay. Kind of spread this out just a touch. Cool. Now we've got this extension cord that will be the guy that everything plugs into, and we need a lot of things plugged in. So that'll be helpful. Okay. First thing that gets plugged in is the air blower. This cools down the laser. Why isn't that going? Shouldn't that turn on? There it is. Okay, that's the first thing that gets plugged in. The next thing that gets plugged in is the actual laser engraving machine, which is right here. Even though it's in a container, this thing still gets a lot of dust on it. I can't imagine that's good for, like, complex electronics like this. But that's okay. All right. Now the laser engraving machine is turned on, and then I'm going to grab my computer because I need that to run the program. So if you'll allow me, can you still hear me when I walk all the way over here? I assume you're able to because I've got my microphone on. Getting my charger, getting my computer. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're at 8% on the laptop. Can I plug it in before it dies? That's the question. Let's get you back here. Loud and clear. Right on. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate that. How you doing today, Earl? Good to have you here, man. Okay. Then the computer, my computer, this poor old girl, she has so much sawdust on it. And you'll understand why today, because I have to keep working while this thing is, powering the laser engraving machine. I take it to the shop every day. There's so much dust. But that's all right. Okay. 8%. We're loaded. Let's get you in. Let's get you in here. Cool. Is it turned on? This thing, it's like getting worse and worse every single time, I swear. We're going to start out with a random board, one that's not that pretty, really. Okay. And then I'm not going to show my fingers while I'm typing my passcode to get in here. Cool. All right. Then we need to get to the program that this thing runs on. Sorry, I keep changing the view on us. And I'm hoping, hell no, we don't want a software update. What are you talking about? Let's see if I saved this thing. Hopefully Big Brain Tanner would have, oh man. I don't know. Hopefully Big Brain Tanner would have saved. Oh, that's it. What? I see it. Damn it. Sorry, this is not that exciting right now, but we're going to get there. So the thing is right here, I see that might just be a picture. Sorry, gang. I'll find it in a sec. Oh, here we go. Nope, that ain't it. Do I have to make this thing again? Be a real bummer if I did. Should have done this before. I'm just trying to find the where would I have put that? I'm just gonna. Dang. All right. Looks like I have to do this again. So here it is. Unfortunately, I have to resize it, which is unfortunate. Go into your recent documents. Oh, appreciate it. You'll find that I'm horrific with computer stuff. So what, recent documents? Should show you that you ran a program file already. That's the logo. We got the logo on there. The issue now is that I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's fine. I'll just do it again. It's cool. So, shit, how big was it? That's the issue. This one I needed? That's not it. Okay. It's probably like, there it is. You know what I'm saying? That's it. How do I get this bigger? Can we see that? That's what I'm trying to do. You can't see anything. Hey, you can kind of see it. So that's probably, man, that's no more than an inch and a half big, probably. Yeah, maybe like an inch, inch and a quarter. How wide are you? Right now it's 2 1/4, so we can go smaller than that. Yeah, we're gonna go that's fine. This might be wrong. Now the other issue is that I have to figure out how fast we can go while also still getting it clear enough. We're gonna try to crank up the power to like 90 and then speed, I don't know, 200. Uh, and then what we'll have to do is we'll have to use a scrap piece. Just this will do. And then see if that's about right. Let's get the laser to the correct height here. Okay. And then we need to plug the laser into the computer. Fascinating stuff, right? Yeah, there might be preloaded settings on this bad boy. I just kind of manually set it up every time. I just move the laser. That's a bummer. Okay. Let's get the laser squared back up. That's pretty good. All right. And remember, this is just the test. That's okay if we don't nail it here. Why? Oh, it's because you're not on. God, I keep moving the laser. There we go. Okay. Process. Great. And there's all sorts of little settings here, but what I want to see is if we click go, I wonder how this will look. We can turn on the fan here. And yeah, I'm trying to get the perfect balance between speed and also clarity of the logo. And it kind of looks like that might be a little bit too light. I mean, it's cranking it. That would be an incredibly efficient process here. But I'm kind of thinking that's too light. Yeah. Okay. And pause, we're gonna cancel that. Okay. And then I like the size of that. It's a good size, right? But I'm gonna turn the power up. Why not turn the power up to 100, and then we'll turn the speed down. And so if the power's up and the speed is down, then it'll make a darker logo. Just doing the testing here. Same wood species. So I know that if we dial this in, it's gonna look good on all the other boards. That just didn't quite look dark enough, you know what I mean? What do we got in the comment section here? Scooch it back. Um, okay. Well, there's a lot of comments. Let me actually read this so that I can see what's going on. Live streams are watchable like 2 minutes after you end them. Oh, that's cool. No, I'm actually going with pecan for these sushi boards. I'm replacing some old ones that someone else did. They were already pecan. They were a live edge pecan, but I'm doing pecan here. Dirty Acres, yeah, I'm sure that what you're saying is correct, but in the moment, I'm not able to do that without looking like a fool here. Get us in close. Yeah, okay. This is so neat. I worked at a trophy store and we had a number of laser etchers and I never got tired of it. Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Don't look at it for too long. And I guess it's just smelling burning wood. How'd that one look? Still not quite dark enough. You know what I mean? I want a little bit more. So unfortunately, it's just gonna take longer, is what it amounts to. Yeah, speed. What if we went down to like 130? And this was always my fear with telling them I could do logos, is that if each logo takes 3 minutes and you're doing 20, that's a long time. You might be able to do something where you, okay, I'll get you in close, where you set up all the boards and you have the logos run just like on all of them at one time so you can just walk away and do something else. But I feel like the setup for that would be pretty difficult. That's looking better. I might slow it down just a little bit more, but that's looking pretty close at this point. What I don't want to do is start having it to where like there's actual depth to the laser engraving. I think if I did that, it would start to get like food and stuff trapped in there. That actually might be just about perfect. Because again, if you go too much deeper than that, too much darker than that, like you're gonna actually start removing wood. And if you start removing wood, then I'll do one more and go just a little darker. If you start removing wood, I just don't know if food's gonna get trapped up in there. The polyurethane that I'm gonna be painting on there should help to just kind of fill that in and set it. What if we did 100? I also want to see how long each one takes, you know what I mean? Oh, shit. I'm feeling my back where I smashed into the corner earlier, and it's definitely raised. I don't think I'm bleeding, but it's definitely raised. That looks good. That's very sharp. Yeah, unfortunately, this is like the perfect amount of time where it kind of takes a second, so I can't really go on and do other things. But it's not quick enough to where I'm just cranking them out. Let me see what the runtime on this bad boy is. Okay, it's like a minute. That's not bad at all. I think that looks fantastic. That guy right there. Sweet. So now we have to figure out exactly where we want that on a real one. And I'm going to put the edge of my board on this line that I've drawn over here. And then I'm only going to move the laser now. So let me draw another little mark over here. So now I know exactly where to bring the board to in both directions. Just like the router, I now have guides. And now let's move that thing to where we think it should go. Let's see. So I'm able to select the starting position. Let's get it a little closer to that back wall. And then definitely a little closer over here. It's wider than it is tall. That might be too much. I have a picture. I mean, it gets really close to both sides on the sample that I gave to them. Let's get a little closer to the wall. Not quite that close. Let's try this. What happens if I frame that? So this is just a framing maneuver where I can see. I think that's going to be great. It happens quick, so look out. But I think that looks pretty good. The only thing, maybe I want to go just like a smidge over that way and one tick down. That's it. That's it right there. And it's always going to go back to that same spot, so I should just be able to run it. We're going to try it on the first board. Why not? All right. And one thing that I can do while these are going is I could possibly sand the edges of them. I don't know if I'll be able to sand the edges completely. Like if one of them prints and I take it, start the next one, can I sand the edges of the one that I'm printing right now in the time that it takes one to print? I don't think so. I think that would be kind of crazy. I'm liking the way this looks though. What I wonder is if I need to sand the edges before I print it. I don't know about that. Looks really good, doesn't it? Okay. That's sick. That is their logo. So let me get a temperature on things here, guys, because we've been going for a while. We've been going for a long time here. Yes, I am strictly solo in the shop. There are two of us that are trying to tackle this content monster. And that's super exciting to have a teammate there. But right now in the shop, yeah, it's me here every day by myself. The idea is to slowly trickle in a person here or there to take things that would make everything go more efficiently and help me to kind of, I don't know, tell more stories, make more pieces, etc. So yes, am I going to look for someone to help in the shop? Yes, kind of currently in the middle of doing so. turns out that it's a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be to make that a seamless integration, especially with content creation. If they're working on something, how do I make sure that I can still talk and record correctly? Let's see. That thing's crazy. Yeah, that thing is crazy, isn't it? It's really cool. I wonder what I could do with this to I don't know, crank out some really cool things with it that are a little bit less custom each time. Finette, thank you. Looks great. So here's what I'm wondering. We've now been going over 3 hours. My goodness, I'm kind of needing to eat something. And the next process is going to be what you just saw again and again and again and again. And then sanding the edges, which isn't all that exciting. So I think I might call it there. If that's cool with everybody. We got 19 of you left, and it seems like, now 13. So it seems like just the diehard fans are here right now. So I think I might call it there. But I really appreciate everyone coming out. I will try to get some footage of me finishing these bad boys so that you can see it either on Instagram or YouTube. Maybe I'll do another live tomorrow when we put some finish on it. There'll be a finish on it today, but maybe tomorrow so you can see what they look like with everything. Yeah, let's, thank you, Joe Mama and Seattle Woodman. Yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. That was a lot of fun. We made some good progress. Again, I don't know if we're making good timing, but we made good progress. So hopefully I'm out of here before like 10 o'clock tonight. I need to eat some lunch, grab some water, relax for a second. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'll let you know when we're doing another one, but you guys are always fantastic in the chat. So thank you guys, and we will see you next time we do a live stream or somewhere else on the content creation world. Later, dudes.